In the end, he did not walk out. The police walked in at the Ecuadorian's request. 7 years self-imposed carry-on concluding in an angry carry-out.
No one is above the law. Julian Assange is no hero. He is hidden from the truth for years and years. And it is right that his future should be decided in the British judicial system.
But he knows the real issue is international. The police soon said Mr. Assange had been further arrested in connection with a US warrant for computer-related offences. However, Ecuador's president insists there's a deal. The UK can arrest Julian Assange, but not send him on to any country which tortures or executes prisoners, i.e. the USA.
Solicité a Gran Bretaña la garantía de que el señor Assange no sería entregado en extradición a un país en el que pueda sufrir torturas o pena de muerte. El gobierno británico lo ha confirmado por escrito, en cumplimiento de sus propias normas.
Foreign Minister Alan Duncan later confirmed the UK has agreed this deal. Ecuador's government accusing Mr. Assange of breaching their trust in him in a variety of ways. Here's one.
Toleraron cosas como que el señor Assange.
They tolerated things like Mr. Assange smearing feces on the embassy walls and other behaviour like this.
Mr. Assange jumped bail 7 years ago in 2012 seeking refuge in the Ecuadorian embassy. And why? Because he was wanted then in Sweden for alleged rape and sexual assault, which he denies. The charges were later dropped. But Mr. Assange feared Sweden would send him on to the USA. And America's interest lies in a vast slew of confidential military documents WikiLeaks has released down the years. America claims the caches of videos, secret emails, were stolen. They accuse Mr. Assange of conspiring with whistleblower Chelsea Manning to break into secret US military computers.
Julian Assange is not being pursued to protect US national security. He is being pursued because he has exposed wrongdoing by US administrations and their military forces.
WikiLeaks uncovered an extensive spying operation against Julian Assange within the Ecuadorian embassy.
All of which explains perhaps yesterday's sudden press conference in London by WikiLeaks and Mr. Assange's lawyer. Dripping with irony, here was WikiLeaks, yes, WikiLeaks, complaining about an invasion of privacy.
Since Lenin Moreno took power, that Julian Assange has been living in a sort of a Truman Show-like situation inside the embassy. It has been a total invasion of his privacy.
Meetings with his lawyers, supporters, his doctor, covertly taped and videoed, they said. And they allege the Ecuadorians sent this material to the Americans.
WikiLeaks. It's been amazing what's coming out on WikiLeaks.
Did you see another one? Another one came in today. This WikiLeaks is like a treasure trove.
Heady days, the US presidential campaign, and WikiLeaks suddenly dumps thousands of Hillary Clinton emails all over the election campaign.
WikiLeaks! I love WikiLeaks.
But today, oh no he doesn't.
Do you still love WikiLeaks?
I know nothing about WikiLeaks. It's not my thing.
These days, WikiLeaks whistleblower Chelsea Manning is back in prison for refusing to give evidence. President Trump has Robert Mueller's still secret report investigating alleged links between WikiLeaks and Russian hackers. And last year's sealed indictment against Mr. Assange is sealed no longer. Few divide opinions like Mr. Assange and WikiLeaks, crusading fearless publisher or handler of stolen goods. Today the Ecuadorians just got themselves off a massive hook, and the British just got themselves on one. Honour their deal with Ecuador or kowtow to America.
Well, now joining us from central London is Julian Assange's lawyer, Jen Robinson. Jen Robinson, it's a long journey between arrest and actually getting to the United States. I mean, will the British authorities cut short their interest in Julian Assange, do you imagine?
Look, it seems that we've got a provisional extradition request from the United States. They're seeking his extradition and prosecution for his publishing activities with WikiLeaks. And it remains to be seen. We'll be back in court in the next month to see what the US is going to request him for. We certainly do not think that the British government ought to be extraditing a publisher for having published truthful information, and no democratic government ought to be complying with such a request.
Well, now, he skipped bail here originally over charges involving sexual abuse in Sweden. Presumably Sweden has no interest at all, and that now is dead.
First of all, there were no charges in Sweden. It was a preliminary investigation in which he was never charged. That investigation was closed. This case has always been about, and his concern in seeking asylum in the embassy was always about the risk of extradition to the United States. Today, that concern that we've been warning about since 2010 has unfortunately been proven correct. So we don't expect there to be further information from Sweden. As far as we understand, that case has been closed. We would fight it, and his Swedish Defence Counsel is confident of having a strong defence in that case. The key concern now is, as it has always been, is the United States.
Well, extradition is a big number. I mean, is it something you can win, or is it an inevitability?
It remains to be seen. We will be fighting this extradition request. This raises key free speech concerns and ought to be a matter of concern for all media organisations and journalists outside of the United States. This effectively means that if you receive information from a source and you publish truthful information about the United States, then you could face extradition and prosecution in the United States. That's a terrifying precedent, and this is one that all of the media ought to be standing against.
But of course the United States sees it rather differently, don't they? They're absolutely furious about the scale of what they regard as really deeply secret issues have been leaked.
What they're furious about is having revealed for having engaged in war crimes, in human rights abuse, and about corruption. Those are public interest disclosures for which WikiLeaks has won numerous journalism awards, including the Amnesty Award, including the Economist New Media Award, including the Most Outstanding Contribution to Journalism in Australia Award. This is a free speech issue, and all of the media organisations who also publish Chelsea Manning's material ought to be very concerned about this precedent and ought to be standing up for the people that made those publications possible.
But there are other issues. The emails leaked during the 2016, particularly the Hillary Clinton's emails during the 2016 Democratic election.
That is a separate publication for which there has been no indictment and has no connection whatsoever with the extradition request that's made today. The extradition request from the United States relates solely to the material that was released by Chelsea Manning in 2010. That's material that was published, I believe, including by Channel 4, including by The Guardian, Le Monde, Der Spiegel, El País, and newspapers around the world, including in the United States. So this is a very serious matter for press freedom.
Well, Jen Robinson, thank you very much indeed for joining us. We'll be watching developments with great interest. Thank you.
You're welcome.